What's up guys, Uncasual Gamer here and welcome to my 2025 video game room tour. Let's take a look. Yeah, so welcome to the 2025 game room tour. I think the last one of these video game room tours I did was in March last year, so 2024. And a lot's changed in here. We've changed the whole layout of the room. We've obviously got a lot of new items. And we've also changed a lot of the kind of shelving units, things like that. So it looks a lot different to what it did then. There's about 20 consoles in the room. Not all set up, most are set up. And there's about, I think maybe just under 1,000 games. What we'll do is we'll start with the multimedia, the TV setup, which is just behind me. And then we will move over to the games and we'll go right around the room, and yeah, we'll show you all the cool little kind of trinkets that are in here. We'll show you all of the video games obviously, and then yeah, we'll show you the setup behind me, which is where I play most of my games. Yes, as you walk into the room, this is what you see. Over to the right, we've got most of the physical game collection, which we'll talk through in a second with some special items kind of on top of the shelves. We've got my couch here. And then opposite the couch, we have got kind of the multimedia area where my consoles are. And then we've got some further games and other stuff on top of here as well. So we'll start off down where I play most of my games. All the consoles I have in the house are in this room, apart from the PS5, which is currently downstairs. And that's just because me and my fiance are playing Astro Bot at the moment, which is a great game, by the way. Would definitely recommend it. And we just like to play that in the living room, kind of on a night when we finish work, etc. So yeah, let's kick off with the left-hand side. We've obviously got my Xbox Series X here, which is the console that I use the most. And that's just mainly because of Game Pass. I think both the PlayStation 5 and the Series X have not had that many good exclusives since launch, really. So I do have both, and I kind of play both, but I play the Series X more just because backwards compatibility is really good, right back to the original Xbox. And with Game Pass, you've obviously got so many games just kind of digitally on the Xbox when you want to go. So yeah, play that most. Over to the right hand side, we've got my Nintendo Switch, which is the original Switch. I got that back at launch. And we've also got my PlayStation Classic, which is not plugged in because, well, I mean, this is just basically not a great console in my opinion. It didn't come with that many good games. I know a lot of people mod them or chip them with a USB stick in the front. I've not done that with mine. I have got a PS1 itself, but obviously I've got PS2 as well, which I can play most of my PS1 games on. Moving across here, we've got a PS3 which is hooked up to the TV. We've got a HDMI splitter around the back, and that has got, I think it's got PS3, the Series X and the 360 on, and then we've got a kind of like a SCART to HDMI converter thing, and that's also a splitter, and that's got a Wii, a PS2 and an OG Xbox on. So not every console obviously down here is hooked up. We've got three Wii's here. We have got the blue London 2012 Olympic Wii, a white Wii and a standard black Wii, and in fact the white one is a standard, isn't it? So we've got a black Wii and a white standard Wii. And then we've got the Super Mario Wiimote, which I think they go for about £30. I know there's like a full set of, you can get Donkey Kong and Luigi and Peach, etc. I've only got the Mario one, but yeah, it's quite nice. It comes in a red case as well. Don't tend to use that one just because I don't like getting it grubby. I've then got two OG Xboxes, with the black one is the one that is plugged in and the one that I use. Both are fully working, and yeah, I just love the look of the crystal one. I think it looks great on the shelves. I think this is still one of the best looking consoles even to this day. And while we're on the OG Xbox, one of my kind of like holy grail items, I guess, would be the translucent green Halo edition, which I've not got in the collection, but I'm on the lookout for. And then moving across to the left, we've got a couple of drawers here. So the top one of these drawers is all Nintendo controllers. So we've got a few Wiimotes in there, nunchucks, my Switch Joy-Con controller. And then in the one below that, we have got PlayStation. So this has got PS1, PS2, and PS3 controllers in there, and the Xbox controllers, I've got that many, don't fit in one of these drawers, so they are just behind us in another part of the game room. Moving across, we've got a silver PS2, and we have got a Xbox 360. Both these are hooked up, so I can play them at any point, and they just, like I said before, into a HDMI splitter, a quick flick of the button, and then we get the Xbox 360 on TV. This is the only one out of all these Xbox 360 that's plugged in. Obviously, I only need one, and the Halo Reach one is the one that's got, well, obviously it's one of the newer models, and it's got the hard drive, etc. The PS2 Silver is in really, really good nick. I got this, I think it was during COVID, and I got it on Marketplace, and she had to post it, the lady. It comes with a stand. You don't often see the silver stands, and it also has 2 controllers. So yeah, I was really happy with that one, and I think, again, that is just a great looking console. To say that's of a 20-year-old now, I think it just looks great. It looks so much better than some of the new consoles. Moving across, we've got another white 360, which is my original one that I used to play. I think it was the premium when it came out. We've then got a Modern Warfare 3 Xbox 360S, and there's actually a mistake with this. It's a print mistake. Whether you can see this or not, I'm not sure. But they've accidentally printed the number 3 on the console twice. I'm not sure if the camera is going to pick that up or not. But yeah, it's actually got a misprint on it. So a bit of an unusual one. It does work on that one. Don't tend to use it much just because the Reach one's plugged in. But yeah, nice to have. Then got one of my favourite consoles of all time, which is the Halo 3 Xbox 360 edition. Absolutely love this. It's got the hard drive on it that came with it, and I've got the controller with it as well. And they have shot up recently. I think I paid £60 for mine, probably like 7 or 8 years ago now. It's one of the first big items when I started collecting that I picked up. And the next one is a custom painted 360, which I had to go spray painting myself, and I think it's come out alright, to be fair. If I just pull it out, it's kind of like a rust effect on it. Again, maybe quite hard to see on camera, but I felt it was quite good for a first attempt. And then moving across, we have got the Xbox 360 HD DVD drive, which plays HD DVDs. We've got a black standard PS2, which is hooked up to the TV, a PS1, which is not in use, and just another PS3. So yeah, that's kind of like the media center. This is where I play, like I say, most of my games. I sit back on the couch behind me, and I can pretty much pick up any controller I want for those consoles, and I can jump in and play what I fancy. Then moving around to the main part of the game room, which obviously is the games. It's the shelves with all the games on. It's what looks great in the back of videos, stuff like that, and it's the main part of the collection. We'll start over at this left-hand side, and then we will work our way around. So first up, we've got the PlayStation Classic box, which is for the mini PlayStation that I just showed you a second ago. This also is incredibly dusty, so needs a dust. We then got the Halo Duke controller, which is a recent pickup for me. I got this on Vinted. Got a good deal on this one. I think they're going for like £80-90 on eBay, and I picked it up for, I think it was 55 on Vinted. This is the Cortana Halo Special Edition, and the Xbox logo in the middle, it lights up. It actually looks really, really cool. I will put some B-roll over the top of this video. And then we've got a Vice City light, which I actually got off Temu. And you know what? This is like the one thing in the room that just stands out when you stand back and when you walk in the room at first. This is the one thing that, probably one of the favourite things in the collection. Obviously, Vice City is one of my favourite games of all time. It's in the top 3. And that leads us nicely on to the 3 things below that. So we've got the PS2 double pack, which is Vice City and GTA 3. And then we've also got the same one on the Xbox. And again, both these are in really, really neat condition. There are barely any marks on them. Both complete with the discs, and I think the posters are in there. And yeah, the Xbox one in particular is in pretty exceptional condition. I've had both of these for a number of years now. The PS2 one has got a little bit scuffy around the top, around the edges, but in terms of the front cover, it's pretty nice. And then we have got the Vice City full official soundtrack, which has, if I can open this, 6 discs in it. And these are all the radio stations that you listen to when you're playing Vice City. Some amazing music in there. And yet again, I think these tend to go for over £100 now. I paid 60 about 5 or 6 years ago for it. I did annoyingly drop it a couple of years ago when I was rearranging the game room, so it has got a dent at the bottom. But apart from that, it's in pretty nice nick. And I then got 3 different PSPs. We've got the purple Hannah Montana PSP. We've just got the, I think it's the Radiant Red PSP, and I can't remember what this one's called, but it is the blue PSP. And like everything else, these are in absolutely excellent condition. Again, they need a bit of a dust, but Quite often with the PSPs in particular, you get a lot of scratches on the back around this metal. Now you can see a couple little bits on the metal ring, but in general, all 3 of these PSPs are in, I probably would say, mint condition. You're not going to see many PSPs this age on the market that don't have scratches on the screens, and all 3 of these, again, dusty, so I do apologise. And then we move down to the first set of shelves. However, this does span across the room, so what we'll do is we'll talk through. This is my Xbox 360 collection. This is the console, my favourite console of all time, and the console that I've been collecting for mostly over the past couple of years. Quite a lot of these have gone up in price recently. You know, they're not worth tons of money. There are maybe like 2 games in the 360 collection that are worth more than, let's say, £20-30. But games that were £1, were £2, are now kind of £5, £6, £7, £8, £10 games. So I'm just trying to pick as many up as I can at the moment. And they're all in alphabetical order. So we start off at 0 here with the 007 games through the A's. We've got almost all of the Assassin's Creed games. I think I'm just missing Unity on there. Then into the Battlefield games, and if you watch any of my 360 videos, I did a full 360 collection across 4 parts, which I'll put a card up at the top of the screen to just now. We talked through every single game in the collection, and I also did kind of a total value of the 360 collection. So if you want to know how much all these 360 games would cost you at CEX, then click up top now and you can go and view that video. What I would say about the 360 is that first-person shooters, or well, shooters in general, I think this is the best era we ever had. We had the best selection of Battlefield games with Bad Company 2. I think Battlefield 2 actually had a copy on the 360 as well, and then Battlefield 3, the first Bad Company game, yeah, so good. We then had the Call of Duties, which some of the best ever in terms of Black Ops and World at War, 2 my favourite ever, and Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, which most people kind of rate as the best. We then obviously had the Gears of War games, 1, 2 and 3, which debuted on the 360, were excellent. And then last but not least, we had Halo. Halo 3 is one of my favourite games of all time. But ODST, Halo 4 and Halo Reach, which is here, were just all fantastic games too. And I think once it moved to the Xbox One, we saw the quality drop off once 343 took over, unfortunately. And I think if I'm going to talk about anything on the 360, like so many of these games I grew up playing, just looking back through now, the 2 Arkham games were absolutely, you know, I think until Spider-Man came out, and even now with Spider-Man out, I think I would prefer Arkham, but they were the best superhero games ever made up until Spider-Man at least, and maybe still hold that with Spider-Man. The 360 was around when I was in secondary school for the most part. It was a console that, you know, when you're a teenage kind of boy and you're growing up and you're playing video games kind of more than ever because you've got the time after school and stuff, as well as doing a lot of sport. It was the console that I played the most of, and that's why I've got the most nostalgia for it, and that's why at the moment I'm collecting for it, and it's the biggest part of my collection. We've already mentioned the Halo games, but the Halo games are some of my favourite games of all time, in particular Halo 3. Guitar Hero, I think this is the best era of rhythm games that we ever had. And then we got GTA 4 and GTA 5 both on the 360. And we've obviously not had a GTA since GTA 5. GTA 5 has been remastered for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X. But we've not had a new GTA. We got 2 GTAs and a Red Dead Redemption on this console, which is pretty mad when you think back to that. We've got quite a few Lego games as well. Lord of the Rings probably being the pick of the bunch. And then moving around, some of the WWE games I think in this era were really good. And obviously my guilty pleasure, which is FIFA. We've got the Batman, I think this is the Arkham City Collector's Edition here, which again is in quite nice condition. And then moving up, we have got the Halo 3 Legendary Edition. The box is over here just behind the PlayStation Classic. And this is probably my favourite item in the game room. I've had this for a number of years now, and yeah, absolutely just love this. It just really pops as well with the lights. When you've got like the Vice City light to the side of it and things reflect off it because it's super, super shiny, the visor. Yeah, I think it's about £150 now, and again, I got a good deal on this when I first started collecting. It was kind of like my first holy grail piece. I think I got it for like £70 or something, and it's really good condition. If you don't already know, then you can't wear this, unfortunately. It does come off the stand. if I can do it with one hand, because it is there we go. It does come off the stand, but it is just hollow, and the games can be placed in here. So we'll put him back down for now without breaking him. There we go. And then moving down to the second shelf, we have got just a few of my big boxed items. So these are, I don't think most of these are collector's editions, they're just like limited editions. Got Bioshock 2, Hitman Absolution, the Halo 3 and Fable double pack, which I actually found in CEX for like £3, and I think they're quite hard to find at the moment. Got a Chinese version of Halo Wars, which I thought was the UK version when I got it on eBay, and the Chinese version came through the post. The Evil Within limited edition, which I picked up recently. I've not actually played Evil Within 1, but Evil Within 2 I played last year and absolutely adored that game. I've kind of been in a bit of a horror. I've been loving horror games at the moment, so I've been playing through all the Resident Evil remakes, and then we jumped into the Evil Within 2, which was great. Ori, which is the Will o' the Wisps' second game. Again, brilliant platformers. I think they're some of the best games that Xbox and Microsoft have brought out in recent years, particularly the Xbox One era. I think Ori probably was the standout game for me, alongside the Forza Horizon games. And then moving down, we have got a Last of Us 2 PS4 controller, which is sealed, and The Last of Us Part 2 game, which is the Elite Steelbook edition. And again, you know, The Last of Us 1 and 2 are two of my favourite games of all time. Both, I'd say, in the top 5 favourite games. And so I love just having these on display where I can see them. So as you look up, you kind of, you know, we've got the Master Chief, Batman from the Arkham games, some big box stuff, The Last of Us, then just my Switch box at the bottom. As we move around to the left then, we've got my Xbox One collection. There's about, I think these shelves hold 50 games, and as you can see, we've got 2 up top and 2 spaces, so I think we've got exactly 50 games on the Xbox One. Nothing really to shout about on this console. We had some great games on it, but not Xbox exclusive, so just when I'm looking through, you know, Red Dead Redemption stands out as probably the game of the era. I loved Yakuza Like a Dragon. It was the first Yakuza game that I played, and I absolutely loved that. And then we have got things like the Master Chief Collection, which was on screen a minute ago on the TV, you might have noticed. Moving down, we have got OG Xbox, which also spans up here for a small section. And again, there's nothing crazy on here. I think in terms of the most expensive game I've got, that would be Obscure, which is here, which is a horror game. And I think that's worth about £20 at the moment. Obviously, all the staples on here are your Halo 1, your Halo 2, that kind of game. We've got some of the Tomb Raider games on here as well. And then things like standard copy of Vice City, because I've not got enough copies of Vice City. And things like Gun is a good game, Driver 3, GTA San Andreas, which obviously all play on the Xbox and the PS2. The Xbox the more powerful console, but the PS2 the more popular console. As mentioned, the 360 then spans around in alphabetical order, drops down to Xbox One, and then the PS2 starts. The PS2 is a weird one for me because I had PS2 growing up like everybody on the planet, but I don't have that much nostalgia for the PS2, so I tend to not collect for it. A lot of this stuff is stuff that I've literally had in kind of loft since I was young, and I don't tend to ever buy games for the PS2, so this is the set of games that I've had since I started collecting. Probably the most notable games in my PS2 collection would be The Simpsons Hit and Run, which is somewhere, I think. There we go. Oh, Simpsons. So we've got Simpsons Road Rage here, and then we have got somewhere The Simpsons Hit and Run. There we go. And yeah, this was kind of like an iconic game growing up, and a lot of people who, when they first get back into retro video games or they want to jump back in, Simpsons Hit and Run is one of the games that kind of, if I mention to friends who don't collect or family who don't play older games, oh, do you remember the PS2? Simpsons Hit and Run is the one. Oh, do you remember playing that? That's kind of the one that always comes up. Sealed version of True Crime New York City, but again, I don't think that's worth much money. And then up we come to the top, we have got some of my favourite Xbox One / Series controllers at top. This is the yellow one, which is the one that I play over on the couch over there. We've then got a custom one that my fiance got me for Christmas. We've got the Forza Horizon 5 controller.
which, again, I don't want to use too much, so I don't want to kind of mucky up the joysticks or anything. We have got the Remix controller, and then I've also got the Ghost Cypher, which is downstairs at the moment, because I had the Series X downstairs last week. And then we've got a sealed Charmander Pokemon controller for the Switch. I don't think this is the official one. It's one of the, I think they're called Power Air. Yeah, that's the brand, Power Air. And then moving further across, we have got two OG Xbox S controllers. We've got the green one, which, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, I have not got the console to go with that yet, but that's one of my holy grails and one of the consoles that I'm after. And then we've got the translucent blue one, which I believe is a North America exclusive, and I picked that up at, I think it was Leeds Game Market last year. So yeah, happy to have this one in the controller in the game room because you don't see this much. This one I actually picked up from CEX. Now, they had it in store and they had it priced up at the same price as the normal black one. I think it was £15, or maybe priced up at the crystal clear one. And these obviously are worth more. So I don't know why it was priced up at that, so I spotted that. I was like, I need to have that. So £15, yeah, I think they go for like £30 on eBay. So really, really happy to have that one in the collection. And then we have got Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock, which again is one of my favourite games of all time on the 360. I've got a number of Guitar Hero games which didn't actually show you down here. A number of guitars, sorry, I think there's like 5 guitars down there for the 360. And yeah, this one, another one in there, and that one is boxed. It's not in great condition by any means. It's a bit tight on the edges, but I love the artwork on this game and absolutely love this game. This was really when Guitar Hero games and kind of rhythm games in general peaked. And then moving down to some more PlayStation and Nintendo stuff. So we then have PS3 on this shelf. Now, watching a lot of retro getter, I was gonna maybe attempt to go for the PS3 hits. Is it hits on PS3 or on PS4? Essentials. The PS3 Essentials. So I've been picking them up when I can find them. I think since Retro Getter has done that, a big shout out to his channel, by the way. Absolutely love his videos, love his channel. Since he's done that, they've obviously rocketed in price, so they're quite hard to find. So basically, if I see one out in the wild at CEX, charity shop, etc., then I will pick them up. But yeah, I only got, 6 in a collection at the moment. And again, nothing too exciting on the PS3. I think Watchmen I picked up at the charity shop, and that is worth a little bit. Some of my favourite games on this system when I had it growing up, obviously I was a 360 person, so 360 was what I played a lot more of, but some of the highlights for me would be Little Big Planet. I loved that game growing up. Again, the Call of Duties I would play on there with friends that had a PS3 and not an Xbox. But really there wasn't too much. I think a lot of the games that I actually liked on PS3 I don't have in the collection currently. I'm just thinking of things like Infamous and Infamous Second Son I was a big fan of. There is Motorstorm Pacific Rift, which is one of my favourite driving games of all time. It's kind of like a off-road, you can go in monster trucks, bikes, quad bikes, that kind of thing. I love that on there. But yeah, the PS3 for me doesn't hold that much nostalgia because 360 was so big in my life, but don't mind picking games up as and when I see them. The Uncharted games as well, that's just caught my eye. Obviously Uncharted 1, 2 and 3, I believe, all came out on the PS3, and then 4 was on the PS4, which is my favourite of the set. Speaking of PS4, as I move down, we've then got the PS4 collection, starting with Sonic Colors Ultimate. This is the version that comes with the Sonic keychain. Now, I actually picked this up last week because Amazon have this for just £12 at the moment, and I think for £12 with the... Obviously, it's a big box, so it looks great on the shelf. I've already got the game on Switch, so I have played it. But I thought for £12 with the keyring for this edition, that was a really good buy. So I picked that up last week, hence why it's just sat on the shelf, and it needs a home somewhere in the game room. On to PS4. For me, the PS4 had the greatest library of exclusives of any console in history. Now, my collection is quite small, but when you look through the exclusives that this console had, it is absolutely unreal. Starting out with Horizon Zero Dawn, this was an exceptional game. We then had Spider-Man, which my friend's got at the moment because he's borrowed that game. We then had Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, which, like I just mentioned, was my favourite game, my favourite Uncharted game in the series. The Last of Us Remastered, which is actually, I played The Last of Us on the PS4 for the first time. I'd never played it on the PS3. God of War, another all-time great. And when you just look at them exclusives all on one console, yeah, I don't think we ever have seen that many exclusives on one console at that level, and I don't think we ever will again. But yeah, PS4 is quite a small collection of mine. I've just got the games really that I played, the Uncharted collection there as well, which is the remasters of the first 3 games. Just got the games I play on that console, and again, the hits from Retro Getter, I was going to try and attempt to collect some more of these, but it'll just be as and when I see them rather than going out of my way to pick them up and pay over the odds for them. Over to the right here, we have got Guitar Hero on Tour Decades, and these really are just things that don't fit anywhere else in the game room, so they're just plonked here for now. This is a sealed copy of the game, I believe. Yep, still got the sticker on the bottom just there. I used to love this as a kid, putting this on the DS. Like you can see, I'm a Guitar Hero fan, and when I was going on like caravan holidays and things as a kid, I would take this with me and play that on the go. We've then got a sealed Switch controller, which again is just one of the cheaper Power A ones. And we have got Persona Dancing All Night. Now, if anyone's got any information on this one, I don't know if this is the game and the CD or just the CD. So I actually picked this up when visiting Japan 2 years ago, and it is in absolutely perfect condition. I don't think it's new, because over in Japan, if you have been, they tend to like wrap all the games, the second-hand games in shops, so everything looks pristine, everything looks new. But yeah, this is a really cool piece, and it's like metallics. I don't know if you can see it shining in here, but I just love that. Not really a fan, haven't really played the Persona games, but when I saw this in Japan, and it was a really good price. Oh, it does say used, sorry, on there, it does say used. I had to pick it up, and it looks great on the shelf. And then we have got here just Xbox 360 demo discs, so I've got about 54. I've not got every single one, I think I'm missing some, but these were all from the official magazine, and yeah, there's got, I think, 54 I've got. I don't know how many they had to collect all together, but they're all just piled up there, and they all work. I have put them through the 360 to try them. Moving down into Nintendo, and again, Nintendo, I guess because I missed I'm too young really for the NES and the SNES eras, and even the GameCube, I had the OG Xbox, I had the PS2, I never had a GameCube, so Nintendo doesn't hold that much nostalgia for me, which is probably like horror to hear for most video game collectors and enthusiasts. But I got the DS, and I absolutely loved the DS, mainly for the Pokemon games, which we've got a few of down here, which is also some of the most expensive games in my collection. Pokemon White 2, I think, is like £105 at the moment in CEX. We've also got Pokemon Black, we've got Pokemon Ranger, 2 of the Pokemon Ranger games. We have got, and I think back up here there's some more Pokemon games somewhere. Oh, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon here, Pokemon Diamond version here. So yeah, a few of them. And then other games on the DS that I loved growing up were New Super Mario Bros., which is one of, I think, the best Super Mario Bros. You can play, especially on the go in terms of a handheld version. Mario Kart, obviously, one of my top 10 games of all time. I used to play this with school friends, and we'd play it like on the bus to school on the way home. Because only one of you had to have the game, you could all bring your DS along and we'd play that. And then moving down, we have the Wii. And again, the Wii was a weird console. It was one of those family consoles where Nintendo were hoping that the whole family would jump in and play it. And people did that, like in terms of the Wii Fit and things. But when you revisit the Wii today, for me, it doesn't hold up great. There are some games such as Super Mario Galaxy, which I've got somewhere on here, and kind of Smash Bros. Was still a good game on it. But for the most part, Mario Kart Wii actually as well deserves a shout out, because just like the DS version, this was excellent when you had family around or brothers, sisters to play with. Wii Sports obviously was a lot of fun. But yeah, the Wii just, I think, I rarely ever turn a Wii on, just because for me, it doesn't do anything for me anymore. I think the games that I were going to play on here would be Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. That probably would be it, because if I'm playing Mario Kart, I'll just play the Switch version, which has now most of all the old tracks on it anyway. And then just moving back up here, we've got a very small 3DS section with Mario Kart 7, probably the pick of the bunch, and Super Mario 3D Land, and 3DS Maker, which I'd just taken off the shelf, which I had sideways just because I love the yellow case on this, and it really pops when you are sat back on my couch. We then have a few DS's. We've got the OG Blue DS, we've got a DS Lite, DSi, DSi XL, another XL, another Lite, 3DS, a DS Lite, and a custom painting which I did myself of an original DS. So yeah, that is the main shelving units of the collection, and then there's just a few more over to our right. So then the final part of the game room is this section here, which, as you can see, tends to be like the little scruffy corner of the room. All this is kind of neatly laid out, and then we get to this corner which is a bit scruffy, but we've still got some nice stuff over here. And this again is because I've just recently rearranged the room. This is the stuff I didn't really have at home. So we have got in the back corner the PlayStation, one of the newer pieces in my collection, the limited edition 30th year anniversary, I think it is, controller. I've not opened this yet. I only bought one. I didn't buy them to resell, but I've not opened it yet because I don't tend to play the PlayStation 5 as much as the Series X, so I don't. And all the games on the PS5 for me are more your single player games, like Last of Us Part 2, Last of Us Part 1, for example, God of War Ragnarok, Spider-Man Miles Morales. The games I have on the PS5 are all single player, so I'm probably going to leave that sealed for now. And will I ever open it? I'm not sure. Then got just a couple of Pokemon plushies, and we've got my PlayStation Vita, which is the... I think this is the second version. This is not in as nice condition as the PSPs that I showed you before. It has got quite a lot of marks and scratches on. Never had a PS Vita growing up, so I picked that up to try it out. And I tell you what, the PS Vita was way ahead of its time. It essentially is like a Nintendo Switch, just without the removable Joy-Cons. Yeah, fantastic console. Quite expensive to collect for though. And obviously, if I'm playing a handheld these days, it most likely is going to be the Switch rather than the Vita. Then just got a bog standard black PSP lying around, probably because this is the one I tend to play the most, just because I don't like scuffing up the nicer edition ones. This already is quite messy. I've then got GoldenEye on the Wii, and again, I think this is the limited edition, which has the gold controller in nice condition in there. We have got Switch Sports, and we have got Donkey Kong 2, which is a Japanese version. Again, picked this up in Japan, so it comes in this nice seal, even though this one doesn't say used, but I believe this is used as well. The artwork on this is really good. It absolutely pops. And if it is used, just like the other one, it is in immaculate condition, in mint condition. We've got Toy Story on the Mega Drive, which I don't have a Mega Drive console. I just picked it up because I'm a big Disney fan. And again, love the artwork on that one. And then we have got the 2DS with Mario Kart 7 pre-install, which is boxed. Picked that up again during COVID, I think that one was, on Facebook Marketplace, and got a good deal on that. Moving down, we have a small PSP collection, and once again, I think the two highlights on this console for me were Vice City Stories and Liberty City Stories. And Vice City Stories in particular, this is the kind of game that I would play on a night when my parents said, I had to go. Unfortunately, I've got a cover reprinted from CX here, so it's not the original cover. But yeah, I would be in bed on a night and I was supposed to be asleep and I'd be playing GTA Vice City Stories, because you could just do that. I mean, we're talking literally like 20 years ago here, and you could play Grand Theft Auto on the go on a handheld console. So yeah, one of the most nostalgic games in my collection. Have a lot of nostalgia for that, and played an important part in my kind of gaming life. Little Big Planet again, like the PS3 version. The PSP version doesn't actually play that well, but still a good game. Lord of the Rings Tactics is a really good fun turn-based strategy game, if you like that, on the PSP, and it's really cheap, this one. I think it goes for like £4 or £5 over here in the UK. Also got a number of UMDs. These are all sealed, apart from Superbad, because I watched that recently on the PSP. Everything else is completely sealed. And then into my Switch, I've got some more Switch games downstairs, because we take the Switch downstairs when we've got people around. But this is just the staples, really. So Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Pokemon Diamond, Mario Kart, Sonic Colors, and then downstairs we've got Super Smash Bros. And we have got, I think, Splatoon 2 as well. It's not a huge Switch collection. I have annoyingly got a few digital games on the Switch just because I picked them up when going on holiday or while I'm abroad and I fancied something to play. And then moving down to the last kind of shelf of games, we've got PlayStation 1. And PlayStation 1 I had when I was a kid. I had it chipped, so I had a lot of games on it. Again, I think similar to the Wii, when you jump back into the PS1, it doesn't hold up all that great at all, so it's not something I jump back in and play. Growing up, there obviously were so many games on the PS1 that were iconic, like your Spyro, Dragon games, obviously the Crash Bandicoot games were amazing on the PS1. They introduced me to a lot of franchises that I love today. GTA 2, for example, Resident Evil 1 and 2, Tony Hawk Pro Skater. So these are all kind of great games, really iconic games, but just games that don't hold up to today, in my opinion. And a lot of these, you know, in terms of we just look at Crash, Spyro, Resident Evil, they've all had remakes. Tony Hawk, they've all had remakes in recent years on the PS4, PS5, the Xbox Series X. So if I'm going to play them games, I'm more likely I'm going to play them on the newer consoles. But still, love the dual cases, love the boxes that these came in. And these, obviously, you know, in terms of my collection, are the most retro games, you could say, because they're the oldest and it's the first console I had growing up. A lot of the other stuff I've got is not super retro in terms of 360 and PS3 and Xbox One. So PS1 is as most retro as it gets in this room. Then got a very small selection of PS Vita games, which I won't really go through because there's nothing exciting in there apart from a couple of Japanese games that I picked up. And then moving down, we've got some Retro Gamer magazines, some Xbox 360 magazines, my Xbox One box and my Series Xbox. And then we've got the Xbox fridge, which came out with the Series X. Fortunately, there's no chocolate or drinks in there at the moment.
So yeah, there you have it. That is my 2025 video game room tour. Thank you for watching. If you have got any tips or any advice, how you think I should, any ideas, how you think I should rearrange the room next, what you think I should add to the collection, if there's anything that you've seen that I maybe didn't talk about too much in the video and you want me to go over again, let me know down in the comments below. Please do hit like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video. I am going to try and get more videos out there for the rest of this year. But yeah, thank you for watching.